I want to ask the Minister if she is considering the consolidation of all disability payments together into one single payment system, and if so, her plans to consult and co-design the scheme in conjunction with the disability community, and if she will make a statement on the matter.
Thank you, Deputy Hulley, for raising this. As the Deputy will be aware, one of the main ideas in the Green Paper I published for consultation last year was to consolidate disability allowance, blind pension and invalidity pension into one single payment. I sought people's views on an approach to providing additional support to those most in need by increasing payments for those people with most profound challenges, and in doing so to also address some inconsistencies between the payments. In line with our obligation under Article 4.3 of the UN CRPD, the Green Paper consultation process involved an extensive series of stakeholder events, public consultation events and bilateral meetings with disabled persons organisations and disability groups. Based on the feedback I received through this process, it is clear that there are significant concerns about the proposals as set out, and in particular as to whether it was appropriate to reform the system of disability payments separate to a wider consideration of other challenges faced by people with disabilities, including transport, education and access to employment. In addition, although it was acknowledged that disability takes many forms and that the cost of disability vary along a spectrum, people were also concerned as to how, in practice, a distinction would be drawn between people with profound challenges attracting the higher rate of payment and other people with disabilities. I have listened to these concerns and will not therefore proceed to further develop the proposals to a white paper or a government decision stage. As a government, we now need to have a fresh look at how we can support people with disabilities, and it is for this reason that the Taoiseach has announced the establishment of a special Cabinet Committee on Disability with a major emphasis on improving supports and services for people with disabilities in all aspects of their lives. Any reform of disability payments will now be considered as part of this broader review of disability matters on a whole-of-government basis, and will take account of the feedback received during the Green Paper process. Alongside this new Cabinet Committee, a new national disability strategy is being developed, and this is being coordinated by the Department of Children, Equality, Disability and with a whole-of-government approach.
Thank you, Minister. Yeah, as you said, one of the proposals was to merge the disability allowance, blind pension and invalidity pension into a single payment called the personal support payment. And so while the Green Paper has now been scrapped, and for good reason, there were proposals within which did merit further analysis, and I believe this is one. In our consultation with disabled individuals and DPOs, there was a cautious welcome from many to this proposal. Now, the current system does not meet the needs of disabled people. It is cumbersome, it's stressful, and a single payment that is easy to access for disabled people would be welcome. It's based completely currently on the medicalised model of disability, and people born with lifelong disabilities are still having to be reassessed every couple of years, which is ridiculous, as if their disabilities are going to magically disappear. So it's stressful. I think it's a waste of people's time. So any proposals for a new singular system would need to be based on a social and a rights-based model of disability, as is incorporated in the UN CRPD, and should be arrived at after only real and meaningful consultation with the disability community has taken place. So co-production and co-design are a singular scheme would be what makes it successful.
Thanks, Deputy, and I agree with your initial question. There are too many different payments trying to do the same thing, whether it's disability allowance, invalidity, pension, blind pension, partial capacity benefit, and sometimes you have people on long-term illness benefit. And then, of course, for children, there's domiciliary care allowance. And in fairness, the Green Paper was trying to put a more unified, coherent approach to this, so that everybody would receive what would be known as a personal support payment. And that's what the proposal in the Green Paper was attempting to do. And, you know, I accept, obviously, we didn't get it right. It's clear people weren't happy with it. I've listened to those genuine concerns. And we now have to go back to the drawing board and take a fresh look at this and come up with a system that supports people with disabilities, because that's what we all want to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I suppose the Green Paper also proposed higher rates for disability payments, and I suppose that too needs to be progressed. Like a cost of disability payment needs to be looked at. I suppose the priority is to ensure that no person is living in poverty. And I suppose just to refer to a number of constituents who have recently come to my office because their payment has been cut or curtailed, and it's been done without any warning. Now, there may be perfectly good reasons for this. There may be a review and there may be other instances that have to be looked into. But the biggest problem is that these people are being left without money. They cannot contact the social or the community welfare officer, because there was a time when you could go and see the community welfare officer in a set day in a local area and discuss your circumstances, and the community welfare officer would be able to make a judgment on whether they needed to give you some money to keep you going. And it was a brilliant system. It's not happening now. People are inquiring, can they see the community welfare officer? They're being told, no, you have to make an application for supplementary welfare. That takes, can take weeks. I had one man who was in hospital for 3 weeks. His payment was cut while he was in there. He couldn't apply for supplementary welfare. He had to wait till he came out. He had bills mounting in that meantime. So, it's very frustrating and very concerning.